It was about a horse. I don't know.
Hold on, War Horse movie. It's called War Horse.
War Horse, yeah.
2011.
Yes, Spirit of the War Horse. Oh, War Horse.
Yes,
yeah.
War Horse. Yep, that's it.
Why would you ever walk
War
into a theater with this being
Oh,
the
gosh.
movie?
I don't remember.
Were you with a girl?
Probably.
I hope so.
I'm trying to think. I don't know.
I
I went through
hope
this
so.
stage in life where I went and saw movies by myself.
I've never seen a movie by myself.
Have you ever eaten at a restaurant by yourself?
No.
Literally
That's
the
not
best
true. I
thing in
did see a
the
movie
whole
by
world.
myself. It is amazing.
Concur.
Well, welcome to Signs of Life, the show where we find hope in the headlines. My name is Chase Tremere. I'm one of your hosts, and I'm joined by, of course, Montana Christopherson and our guest for the season, Josiah Anthony. Ooh. And today, we are talking about the underdog.
Yeah, not the superhero,
Not the
beagle. Underdog.
That's a movie, too.
That flies around.
Is that a movie?
It is.
No,
It's a good one.
is that your
Actually, that's a
favorite movie?
great movie. No, it's not my
It's a
favorite
terrible
movie.
movie. I
Really?
remember it. Yes.
What's your favorite movie, Montana?
Ever?
Yeah.
Of all time? Wait, hold on.
Is it War Horse?
It's not Dead Poets Society. It is like that. It's not that.
Yeah. Good Will Hunting?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
It's Good Will Hunting.
Really?
That's my favorite movie, yeah.
very
Yeah, it's a
interesting.
great movie.
Couldn't remember the title,
How about
but it is
them
my
apples?
favorite
How
movie.
about that? Well, we're talking about the underdog, not the movie. You're
Not the
right.
movie.
We are talking about the story that has been going around, whether you're into
Hats.
horse racing or hats or not. I think everyone heard this story, and that's the story recently of the Kentucky Derby. And the winner of the Kentucky Derby, the horse's name was Rich Strike.
Still a name.
And I'm not into like horse racing. Like that's just not my
Yeah.
world.
I don't know if anybody is.
so
Some
specific
people I
and
think
so
are like, yeah,
niche.
there's like a small niche that's just real into it, and then everyone else just
People that live in
shows
Kentucky.
up and wears
maybe.
hats,
Maybe.
you know?
Yeah.
But I don't have that kind of
Did you
money.
know that there are like some very strict rules about naming a racehorse?
Is
I
there?
did not know
Yeah.
that.
Can you?
Yeah.
Sure.
So like it can't be more than 17 characters long. That includes spaces and letters. It cannot be a number under 30. But
Okay.
you could
So
name
31.
you could name a horse 31, but you can't name it 30 or 29.
Why?
What?
Because there's I don't know. I guess because there's 30 horses that race or something, and so that would be weird if it was like
29.
Number 15 is in number
15
fourth
horse,
place.
that's 17.
Yeah.
It cannot be a person that's alive.
Okay.
Okay, it has to be someone who has been deceased for at least 5 years.
You know a lot about
It cannot have an obvious commercial significance. So it
Like
can't
Coca-Cola.
be. Yeah, it can't be like
Coca-Cola,
my name Coca-Cola or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Interesting.
But Rich Strike makes the cut.
Rich Strike makes the cut. It's under
Makes
17 letters.
Not a number.
Not a number.
product.
Not a
Someone's
product.
dead.
Not a person.
And it helped them strike it rich.
There you go, man. So the more you know.
Yeah. Well, let's do this. Let's check out this clip so that you can see why this was such a big deal, because it's the underdog situation, the betting line, like the favorite was 3-1. For Rich Strike, it was 80-1. So the odds were obviously stacked against Rich Strike. But watch this clip. I want you to see really like the underdog and the come from behind victory that he had.
And it's Messier, Crown Pride, and Epicenter is coming up on the outside. Epicenter has taken the lead as they arrive into the final furlong. Sandon is coming after him. Epicenter and Sandon, these two, stride for stride. Simplification down the outside is next. They're coming down to the wire. Epicenter, Sandon, Rich Strike is coming up on the inside. Oh my goodness, the longest shot has won the Kentucky Derby.
And that is the most horse racing I've ever watched in my life.
Yeah. But it's crazy, like you said, you don't have to be into it to see, like, that's insane. Like, that come from behind win, to be that far back, to not even be talked about, people don't even know who you are, and to come and win, like, the biggest race in that sport.
Yeah.
And, you know, what's funny is, like, we love a good underdog story, I'm sure there's a lot of science behind that, but that's also, as you look at the Bible too, like that's what the Bible's full of, is the story of the underdog. It's, to me, you know, even in a way like this posture, this attitude, this spirit of an underdog that that I think is attractive. It is why we love those stories. It's seeing someone who has the odds stacked against them and them not giving up, them pursuing whatever it is that they're pursuing, and ultimately overcoming it. Whether it's winning a race, whether it's overcoming a daunting task that you have in your life. And I think, the most common story people go to is David and Goliath. But like, there's a lot when you think about an underdog, and even David's story. Like, David didn't just show up and like happen to trip into a win that day. Like, Rich Strike didn't just show up out of nowhere and there's a lot of things that happen on the journey to being successful, whether you're the favorite or the underdog. But I think sometimes we see an underdog and think, well, they're not ready, they're not prepared because they're the underdog. When the reality is, like, it takes a lot of work.
Yeah, I mean, the only person who doesn't think an underdog is an underdog is the underdog.
Yeah.
I mean, they believe in themselves, and they do the hard work and the prep beforehand. And I promise you, Rich Strike wasn't walking into that going, I don't think I can really win this. Like, he was walking in going, I've got this, I can do this, I've put the hard work in. And it's the same story with David. And if you look at the story of David and Goliath and him even talking to Saul, everybody was doubting David, but David was not doubting himself, and he was not doubting God.
Yeah.
And so I think there's something to be said there of, even when everybody else sees you as an underdog or unqualified, you understanding who you are, the work that you've put in, what you can bring to the table, and having a bit of like self-confidence. So
Yeah. And I think about what you said there, the confidence that David had, the confidence he had in God, that God was going to be with him, but like the confidence in his story too. Like, when you look at his story, he was a shepherd, but it's written there, it's on the record of having to defeat these monstrous animals that are going to be scarier than even the largest man in the world. And so there are these pieces of his story that I think he looks at and says, I've accomplished that, so I'm sure I can accomplish this next thing. And I think a lot of times, if we'll pause and look at our own story, like we've accomplished some things, like we've been successful, we've worked hard through some things, and that should give us a little bit of confidence as we face something that seems bigger than us. Right. And I think that's what's interesting is, like, all of us can be an underdog, like all of us. And how do you become an underdog? Well, you get into something that's bigger than yourself. Like you step up to the plate and take on a challenge that you never would have thought you could do. And I think we'd be surprised if we would take some more risk and step into some things that we feel like we can't be a part of. Like, I think we'd be surprised at what can really come from that. And that's, like you said, the Rich Strike thing. Like, there's so much power in just showing up.
Yeah.
So
An
I'm
underdog
curious
shows up.
if, like, either one of you have ever felt like an underdog and succeeded in something before. Like, have you ever walked into a situation where you felt just very unqualified, or everybody else thought you were unqualified?
I feel that every time we record.
Yeah.
Minus maybe the success part. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, in my job, a lot of times I feel that way because I'm always the youngest, usually in most of our things that we're doing, and probably have not the most experience. But I'm surrounded by people that believe in me, and that helps me to attempt to believe in myself more. And I know that, like, that can be a big challenge for me and probably a lot of people, like stepping into something that seems really big, really hard, and thinking like, well, what if I fail? Like, what if I do prove the people that do think that I'm unqualified for this, and I'm gonna prove them right by, like, not being up for the task. And I think it's about, like, defining what it means to succeed at something, and figuring out, like, why am I doing this? And what does it look like, and what is the one small win that I know I'm going to be able to accomplish. So.
That's good. I think I don't know if I have a personal underdog story, but as I think about life, and I think this is why I love sports so much, is because there's, like, always a clear-cut winner. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, here's what you do to win. Like, here's how much you have to score, more than the other guy, and so there's always this measurement, like Montana just said, of being able to know what is successful or not. And I think that's so important in our life, because if you don't know what you're measuring, then you're just spinning in circles. You're doing stuff maybe that works for someone else, but that's not really what you want to do. And so I think figuring out what you are measuring, what does it mean to be successful? And then, like you said too, Montana, like the power of putting people around you that are going to encourage you, that are going to walk
Right.
alongside of you. I mean, that's the deal with the underdog as well as the favorite. Like, there's a team of people.
And
You're
that's
not on your own.
Ridge Strike. It's like he wasn't alone, and he obviously gets all the press because it's the horse and all that. But like, there's an owner that believed in them. There's a team of people that worked with the horse and the jockey. There's investors into that horse who believed that that horse could actually accomplish something. And so we don't see it, but around Ridge Strike and what was the jockey's name?
I forgot.
Yeah, and the jockey.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know because he doesn't get the press.
Kind of the point. Yeah, we don't even know.
It's like there's all of these people who are going, you know what? We believe in you. Like, we think that you can do this.
Yeah.
And even when the world does not. And so, and I think that's the key, man. I mean, that's been my story. I think that's part of your story. I think that's part of your story is having somebody that says, even if you don't see it yourself, like, I see it in you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's so important. Like when we're talking about being the underdog, like that doesn't mean you need to go race in the Kentucky Derby. Like that is a huge, huge deal. But it's like small things. You can be the underdog in small things too, and so it's just about that perspective shift.
Yeah, and I think about like what you just said. It kind of struck a chord, hit a bell. I don't know.
Never heard that
Hit a bell. I got a bell on the side. Boom, Liberty Bell. But like, I don't know. But
Bang the gong.
the idea of it's not the Kentucky Derby, but like looking for that bigger opportunity and stepping into it. Like there's a risk there, but to me, like that's an honoring thing. Like you honor yourself. I think for me, like you honor God when you trust that He's going to be with you and that He has better, I say better, like what is better? Yeah. Like He has harder things that you can accomplish, challenging things that make you better and make our world better. Mm-hmm. And I think about, like, it's, sometimes it's okay to throw it neutral. Sometimes it's okay to hang out in a spot. But when we're not growing, when we're not trying to challenge ourselves, like, what a waste. Like, let's not waste our life. It's like, let's sacrifice. Let's step up. Let's give things away. Let's be generous. Let's challenge ourselves, our bodies, our minds to keep growing because that's what makes the world better. It makes our families better. And I think, when you look at for me, when I like to model my life off of is looking at the life of Jesus and what He's challenged us to do. And one of the things that I think growing up and hearing it, but like being a part of this mission that Jesus calls us to of going into all the world and preaching the gospel and teaching and baptizing people, and I'm with you. And then you go to Acts 1:8, and it's kind of like His real last words that are recorded while He was, here on earth. And His words there are, you're going to receive power from the Holy Spirit, and you're going to be my witnesses. And He lists out these places, but it's like this growing level of place. It was like, it's in this town, and then this city, and then this region, and this country, and the world. And to me, like, it's not always going to be up and right in our life, but it can be growing. Mm-hmm. And sometimes growing is hard, and it's one step back and two steps forward. But that's why I love this invitation to the gospel because it is this idea of being an underdog, of taking a message to people that sometimes doesn't practically make sense. It doesn't make sense to give my money away and that I'm going to have a richer life when I do that. It doesn't make sense to sacrifice my time, but that's going to fulfill me.
I think that the essence of being an underdog is doing something that nobody expected you to do. Mm-hmm. I mean, that is the definition of an underdog. And that is exactly the life that Jesus calls us to live. It's to give love when nobody expects you to give love. Yeah. Give forgiveness when nobody expects you to give forgiveness. Give mercy when nobody... And so the question is, like every morning, we need to be asking ourselves, how can we be an underdog today?
Yeah.
How can I do something that nobody expected me to do?
Yeah.
How can I be kind to somebody that nobody expected me to be kind to, or serve somebody nobody expected me to serve? Mm-hmm. That's how you're, this sounds cheesy, but an underdog for the kingdom.
That's really
And that's what makes a difference in this world.
That's really good. Like, I love that. Preach, yeah. But really, like, that's a great thought. Mm. It just, that's really good. Because I do think, I think that's what it is, like an underdog for the kingdom. Like, go do what no one else wants to, what no one else thinks can be done.
Yep. And that's what Jesus did.
Yeah.
It's really good.
We got a this or that.
We do have a this or that. See, he knows. He's caught on now. Two under his belt. He's ready for this
I'm
or that.
a natural.
Okay. All right. This is great. So, I don't need that anymore. This or that. Would you rather give up sports for the rest of your life? You cannot no longer watch any
Watch it or
sports.
anything.
So watch,
Not
play?
that can-
Watch, play.
No. I mean,
Okay.
I guess you can play. Do y'all play sports on the reg? Is that y'all's? No? Okay.
On the reg?
On the reg.
You don't know what I do.
do. Okay. Or give
I'm
up
clearly an
movies
athlete.
for the rest of your life. So no Secretariat, no Spirit.
So we can't do
no
movies either? We can't be in movies?
Yeah, exactly.
No Goodwill Hunting.
No Goodwill Hunting.
Which, by the way, is nothing like Dead Societies or Dead Poets Society.
I mean, yeah, it has Robin Williams in it.
That's it.
So
All right.
same.
This is easy for
kind of
me.
time.
I'll give up movies any day.
Movies?
Yeah, easy. One, and I know you think it's like, thankfully, Serena loves sports as well.
Yeah.
So we still have something to watch together. But like, you don't know what's going to happen in sports. Like it's different every
You
game.
don't know what's
It's
going to happen
interesting.
in a movie.
No, we know the good guy usually wins 99% of the time. Whoop-de-doo. Like, I don't know. If we're putting those things up and I'm picking one and kicking the other one off the cliff, I'm great with movies being gone. See you, movies. Peace out. Sports way more exciting. Way more exciting.
Even though my nature is to disagree with Chase, I have to agree with you on this one.
That's very true.
And I know, yeah. So I'm being the underdog here by doing something I would not normally do.
Oh, there you go.
And that's agree with you. And I would get rid of movies and
Your
watch
side's
sports.
really quiet, and I
Yeah.
thought this was
I think
gonna
this
be
is
an
going to
easy one.
surprise
No,
us.
it is. I just didn't want to agree with you
dang it.
guys. You definitely give up movies. Watch sports. So. I know it's kind of boring. We all agree.
It's like a
but,
sports episode
yeah.
today.
It's not a very,
is.
you know,
It's not a very
challenging this or that. Yeah.
It's just this.
It's just this.
It's just this.
That's how
But
it
I
is.
think all our personalities, our life is
Yeah.
really simple for
Probably.
us to pick that. But I don't know. I'm sure that is. I would love to hear what people think. Sports
What
and movies.
would you rather give up? Football
Okay.
or basketball? Watching.
This or that. Oh, basketball,
Basketball.
football all day long. It's the best sport ever.
Football is the best sport ever?
By
oh
far.
my gosh.
By American
Jeez.
football. America.
Wow.
Well, I don't
Look
want you
at
to
you.
confuse it
Sorry
with
for all of our
soccer.
international watchers.
Yeah, sorry, soccer's trash. But let's run around in a circle, and after 90 minutes, someone wins 1-0. That's-
98% of the world would
so
disagree
cool.
with you on that.
Literally.
Bring it on.
You
Bring it
sound
on.
So American right now. Like,
Greatest compliment all day. Well, thanks for joining us for Signs of Life today. Make sure you're following us on the socials. Like and subscribe so you get these episodes every week on Thursday morning when they come out. And we will see you guys next week.